Feels good to be home, baby. It feels
Yeah,
good to be home.
welcome back. So we made sure to do the show even though it's Christmas Eve
It says
because
minus 740. All right, now now we've been live for 3 seconds. Shit's weird. Stuff is weird. And we're at 12. Uh, we're at 1280. I think we're on high def. We're all good. I'm sorry. It feels weird to be doing it on Christmas Eve.
no, it feels cool. It feels good to do it because we talked about if we didn't do it, then does that set the mark to not do it on New Year's Eve, which means we'd be gone for 3 weeks.
Which would have hurt me.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been right. I'm happy we're doing it. Um, I'm excited, man. It's Christmas Eve. I love Christmas Eve because that means I'm done shopping. That means like I just have to dish out the gifts now. I don't know why. I really let Christmas stress me out way more than it should because like no one really cares about what you get them most of the time, or at least for me. Um, but I do care a lot about that, so stresses me out a lot, man. Buying gifts, trying to buy good gifts for people is stressful. So I'm happy when it's the 24th. It's like a celebration.
I'm glad you're happy, bro, because I'm still having Bob. I'm gonna be scrambling in the morning to see what's open. I might just run to Walgreens and get gift cards. I know they're open. Because last year I had to go buy stuff, and they were open. And also I remember I bought a bottle of champagne. It was like 5 a.m. wrapping gifts because I had to be ready at 9.
What time do you have to be ready tomorrow? A little later.
Way later, yeah.
All
No kids tonight. No, I'm gonna sleep in.
right. You have
Go
fun.
hit Walgreens. Our family, it's just we celebrate. So tomorrow night we have a celebration, and then Saturday I have two celebrations.
Okay.
So we don't take the day, all that seriously, I guess.
I mean, but still, to wait till the day, you could almost get those
Bro,
after
I
Christmas
feel like
sales.
I've been in a time warp. If you wait one more day, you get it all half off. I feel like I've been in a time warp. But like this year flew by. The years. I mean, we'll talk about that more next week to be more timely.
Appropriate, yeah.
But it's just a trip. Like this is the fastest year of my life. What do you think?
I always talk to people about this. There's weird things in my life where I've recognized I look at time both ways every single time. So I always look at it as short, but I always find things that make it seem long. So, for instance, like it feels super quick, but also Kobe died this year. Like
That's
that
a good point.
that almost seems like a lifetime ago. And so I mean, the World War III memes seem a lifetime. That
Was
was
that this
January. It
year?
was January of this year. So right, like there's that type of stuff that makes it seem forever ago. I mean, just working from home as long as I have just feels crazy. But then again, then it feels quick, even in that sense of like I haven't been to the office this whole year. Pretty like that went by quick. So I don't know, man. It's a little bit of both for me.
I think maybe it's always. That's a good point. Maybe when you pick specific events, it makes it seem slower. But when you
Yeah,
just go by feel,
yeah.
it seems like
See, and that, I don't think I feel like for myself, that's not how my brain works. My brain makes me look at it both ways all the time.
no, mine. I always. I feel like I'm always strapped for time. And Siobhan said slowest year of his life. And but so what Michael had said, the older you get, the faster it goes. And it's not. This isn't my theory, but like when you're 0 years old, 1 year is 100% of your experience.
Yeah, yeah. So it's based on percentage, which just makes
When you're
sense.
30, 29, 30, like where we're at, 1 year is 3% of your experience.
Yeah.
So like they've told me my whole life, like my dad and said, like the older I get, the faster time goes. I mean, part of me is like this because you have responsibility and you run like you lose slow time.
Well, and you don't get those normal year breaking situations,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't have a summer break that breaks up the year. You don't have a winter break that breaks up the year. So you just are kind of just going through in a linear space, which yeah, I could understand for sure. But I don't know. I remember my brother telling me that, which is coincidental. Next month I turn 30. But I remember him telling me when you turn 25, next thing you know, you're 30. And it didn't feel like that for me. I feel like I was just chugging along through the years. It felt good going through them. I do kind of feel robbed 2020. Like my last year in the 20s, I didn't get to kind of go out with that bang, and I probably wouldn't have done anything anyway. But you still want the choice. I want my choice to be that. So yeah, I don't know. I can understand that, but it's super weird to me. It's that same thing. Is I just find those things that make it seem like it's not going by super fast. And I usually do tell people that, like think about how long you could actually remember in your life, right? You could probably remember till you were 10. Let's just call it 10. Maybe you're really like, I remember when I was 5, actually, I was doing this, stuff. But, and maybe now as you get older, it's even later than that. So that means both of us have really lived 19 years that we could remember. And if you look at it from an adult standpoint, we've legit lived 11 to 12 years. And if we were to do even just that again, our adult life, which seems like, at least to me, seems like forever ago when I turned 18, if you just do another one of those, you're going to be 42, right? Like, that's young.
Yeah, I think
that's
about
nothing.
that a lot.
And so and obviously tomorrow's never promised, especially with stuff going on now. So anything can happen. But if you just look at life and getting to the age of 42 doesn't seem that crazy. And that's a whole nother, from being 18 to my age now. So.
No, I tell my mom that because she's all, shout to Lisa. She's always like, I'm getting old, Jules. You're She's like, you better treat me better. I'll be dead before you know it. And I was like, think about how long ago I was a newborn baby. You have at least that much time left.
Like
it's a lot.
That's crazy to think about. Think of all you've done in that time.
Yeah. So it is a trip though, bro. Time is a trip. Just because we get so little of it. And like we said, yes, sometimes it feels slow. Sometimes it feels really fast. But, and again, not profound. Like, you just never get it back. And I think sometimes I look at people who are maybe older and like either injured or fragile or whatever, and like the natural instinct is like, dang, I feel bad for them, but like, they got their time. Not to be cold about it, but like there was a time they were 29 and that old lady you saw was probably a young, attractive woman dissing dudes trying to hit on her or whatever. Like, she had her time in the sun.
She wasn't trying to hit gas stations. She was worried about the creepers catcalling.
So, we all get our time, but that's all we get. I mean, it's weird. But I don't want to depress everybody on Christmas Eve, so my bad. No, Merry Christmas. Have we even said it yet?
No, we have not.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
bro.
Christmas, everyone.
I like your outfit. A couple people have commented on those swaggy jammies. You're looking comfy.
Thank you.
Our producer just tuned in.
Style.
He's teleworking right now. So thank you, Ryan. I look forward to seeing what you have to say from a distance. He's not feeling too great. So, yeah, where you want to start? For once, I came prepared. I took half a day off of work so I could do some research. And
well, you asked me a question before. Let's start with that. You asked me a question before we start.
All right. No, this is a good place to start. What's your favorite Christmas song?
I feel like it differs all the time, but what I was telling you, which I think it is Sleigh Ride, because I like the vibe of it, but I guess it's not because I don't know the lyrics.
I already forgot the words. Yeah, tell me do the tune again.
I just know the cadence is do 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 do, like that. And it's just vibey.
Oh, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Yeah. But yeah, so that it's just boppy. It got like a good vibe to it, and I don't know why, because it's not like I'm just hitting the slopes on sleighs or anything, but it just has a good bounce to it.
No, it's a good. Once you said it, and I remember, that's a good one. I'll look up the lyrics in a minute and go through it.
What's yours? Do you have one?
I love one. I worked retail for a long time. All those people who cry about Christmas music are haters, bro. That was the best time because it's just hits.
Yeah, I like Chris. I'll listen to it all the time. And it's festive. It feels good. Super weird. I don't like bad traditions, but good traditions, like just Christmas music during Christmas time. I get it if you're not, right the day after Thanksgiving. You don't want it played all the time. But December 1st on, it's go time.
I love it. And there's a lot of good ones. there's some bad ones, but I like to hear it all the time. Like I remember the first time I heard what do you remember the Cheech and Chong one where they're kind of telling the story about like Santa lived in the hood and he had all these freaky elves living with it. Have you ever heard
I
that?
don't think so.
So it's Cheech and Chong, so it's like a sketch.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like telling the story of like, oh, I'm looking for Santa Claus. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you talking about the guy with the elves? Like, I remember I heard that the first time and I was like, dang, man, I just love Christmas music. But anyways, my favorite, I'm sorry to go off on, I'll go off on a tangent over anything. But I love Little Drummer Boy,
Right.
aka Lil Drummer Boy.
Little.
I love White Christmas.
Okay.
Specifically, there's a Motown version where they're in there doing it.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could play a little bit.
That's what they'll probably kick us off quick. That's Chris Brown's This Christmas. Huge fan.
How's that one go?
It was. You never watched that movie This Christmas?
I'm sure I have, bro.
But he performs it in there, and I like that.
But this brings me to a piece of trivia. Not trivia.
Rudolph,
this is a random
thing. Classic too.
Rudolph's a classic. I would say I'm looking at a couple right now. Then there's the one,
especially when you get them morning sing ad libs in there, like Pinocchio. Classics.
Though that is such a classic, and I don't want to talk about it too much because that's on my trivia, or we'll get into it in a minute.
Okay.
But then there's the one, I think it's called the Carol of the Bells. It's like a classical one. It's like. Dude,
there's a group did a metal version of that, and it's so clean to me.
Yeah, no, I've heard that one. That's a good one.
They were killing it.
And I really, that's one of my favorites.
What is that? August
I like
Burns
that.
Red, I think. Does that?
You have a good memory for that kind of stuff. But definitely that. Come, they told me, pa-rum, pum, pum, pum.
All right.
And then when they do the voice, speaking of ad-libs in the background, it's not a drum, it's a guy like, pum, 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 pum.
Dude, you never listened to those like Pentatonics Christmas albums?
I've heard a couple of them.
I used to watch the show they were on, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but I used to watch that show. It was really good. Just seeing them swag out. It was like a black group that won the first year. Just swaggy. That show was cool. I like it. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's creative. I'm into it. Not like I'm gonna listen to it all the time, but they drop Christmas albums almost every year. It seems like.
I kind of like them, but I kind of think they're a little corny. At the same
I feel like you listen to it all the time, and they just have that like assembly vibe, Like
they obviously have a lot of talent. I don't want to take that away, but I'm weird about my music, but so yeah, those are my favorite.
But Oh Holy Night,
that's
Tori
Another
Kelly.
Good one. This is what you were just telling me about.
Holy Night, yeah.
Give her a shout out
by Tori Kelly. Just start playing it from about 4:05, 4 minutes 5 seconds. Let that thing play through, and at 4:12.
That's when she hits.
That's when she hits it, man. You could watch. She performs it too on YouTube, which was super cool. But just you got to hear the track. The track, she kills that. And I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of Tori Kelly anyway. So
she can sing. I'll give her that. I want to bring up this random fact while we're talking. I wanted a segment, but this fits so well.
All right.
Do you want to guess how much money Mariah Carey makes off "All I Want for Christmas Is You" every year?
Oh man. I'm at $2 million a year.
So, the first article I saw said 500,000, which I did quick math and I knew that was wrong. The one that seems more accurate was they don't know the exact annual numbers, but they think was $3 million a year. And they said up to 2019, which was about 20 years since she released it.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. When did she release it? 99?
It was early, so like 96. We can look it up, but in the late 90s, I think. And it said that she'd made over 60 million off of it so far. So just quick average would say it's over 2 million. Even if it was in 1990, that's 30. That's over 2 million. But just the YouTube, or I think they looked up the Spotify data, and just the Spotify paid her 10 million. So dang, bro, is there a picture? She was fire back then.
Oh, 90s Mariah Carey?
Yeah. Fire. But yeah, so 3 million a year off of that one jam, and a Christmas jam. Does she have a more famous song than that? You think? Can you think of a Mariah Carey song?
Probably not, man. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, there's definitely some songs out there, but I just don't think more famous than "All I Want for Christmas." Because they wrote the original, right? Like because people have redone it multiple times.
It said in an article it took them 15 minutes to write.
That's another crazy
All
thing.
I Want for Christmas is
Did you the guy who did Somewhere Over the Rainbow? He like recorded that originally in like 15 minutes.
I didn't know
the
that
Hawaiian
part.
dude.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
He like called into a studio, was like, "Hey, can I come record?" And they were like, "Yeah, come in." And he like knocked it out 15 minutes.
One of the greats,
which is awesome. I was going to talk to him about. I was going to say we should talk about the story, so I'm happy it came organically because I didn't. When you asked me what we should talk about, and we'll talk about that story, which I think is super awesome. But we'll stick to Christmas for now.
Well, that was just my fact that we can jump around, but that just
That's
blew my mind.
crazy.
15 minutes, 60 million.
Well, it's just
counting.
crazier that you're just getting residual income like when you're spending your most money of the year, you're also collecting checks whether you're making new music or not.
She never would. So I read that like to get that song in a commercial is like 500 grand.
And you see it in commercials all the time.
So yeah, that's why I knew when they said she makes 600K a year. I was like, that's not right. Maybe that's in one country or something like that.
Yeah.
But in the whole world,
because that's one commercial a year, I would guess.
Yeah, then you get YouTube views, Spotify views, radio. Like I looked that up too, which is just a random. We're on a random mood.
Yeah.
I guess like local radios pay for licensing rights, and like I guess it would be like $2,000 for that song.
That makes sense why those old school stations be playing the same songs all the time because they only buy licensing rights.
Yeah, and I bet you it's cheap. You know, old AC/DC stuff was like, but yeah, you want to dive in? I like that. That's a good story.
Yeah, and so it was funny. Bree was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard that story before. That's cool." And so, but a story I had just read about the other day that I want to talk about, and then you didn't know about this story either. That I thought was super cool was. The story, and I don't have his name, so actually I'll pull it up since I can now do that. But the guy who invented hot Cheetos. So the guy who invented hot Cheetos, you have a bag, even funnier.
I bought him. Oh, sorry, everyone listening to the mic.
Yeah, we just turned this into one of those videos real quick.
Just in tribute to this man.
Yeah,
the inventor of hot Cheetos.
So yeah, perfect. So. Richard Montanez was a janitor. And so even crazier, I love this part of the story. He dropped out of school when he was in 4th grade to start working in the fields and just getting odd jobs doing different stuff, which he did do. When he was 18, he got a job working for Frito-Lay as a janitor. They even he said that his grandfather was like, you make sure those floors are shinier than they've ever been, and you let them know a Montanez did this. Like that's where we stake our name. And so he just crushed it as a janitor. At one point, and correct me if I'm wrong here because I kind of read different stories that didn't include this part. But at one point, the machine had pushed out some Cheetos that didn't have cheese on it. So he took a batch, took some home with him, and he mixed it up. And said that he did this with some spices based on elote, which I thought was really cool too because I mess with some Mexican corn. And so he like spiced it up. He ended up getting a call, talking to the guy, and just kind of told him, "Hey, I've been doing all this stuff." Which let me add that to the story, which I thought was really cool. So he was super curious when he worked as a janitor and would like go meet with salespeople, marketing people. He would ask to shadow people and train with them basically, even though he just wanted to learn the business. And so he noticed like, you guys don't have anything for Latinos at all. Like we like spice. He calls one of the head guys or gets on a call with one of the head guys and is like, "Hey, this is who I am." He like mistakes him for a higher up guy. And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm a janitor, but this is my idea." And so he was like, "What? All right, yeah, cool. Let's schedule a meeting." They scheduled a meeting, and he comes in, he pitches this idea. Frito-Lay at the time was doing really, really bad and potentially like gonna go under. And he comes and he tells them everything, they were like, hold on, you're a what? You are no longer that. He becomes like super high up in the market, like VP of marketing for them eventually. And he created Hot Cheetos and has helped Frito-Lay become everything that they are now. So
let me just add it because I just read it, and
yeah.
there's probably different versions of the story. But
No,
let me add
and you just
pieces.
read it, so you're a little more fresh.
So yeah, but nothing you said was wrong. But just to add to it, he was on a, like you said, he wanted to go out with the salespeople and learn. He really took his job serious. And they're at a liquor store in some Mexican neighborhood, and he sees like, you got to think like the Doritos line.
Oh yeah.
In 1990s, Fritos, Lay's, Ruffles. I don't even, a couple other bland things.
Yeah.
And then it was right next to the Mexican food stuff, and he was like, "Wait." So he calls, according to this article, the CEO. His assistant answers, and yeah, she's like, "Oh, you're the operations manager of the West Coast," and he's like, "No." He's like, "No, I work at this branch," and he's like, "Oh, so you're the sales manager for that district?" And he's like, "No, I'm the janitor there," and she's like, "Wait a second." Patches him through. Pitches it. CEO's like, I'll be there in 2 weeks. Have a presentation ready. He could barely read at the time.
He goes and reads like marketing strategies.
He went to a library, scanned the first 100 pages of a marketing book, and when they were like, well, what percentage of market share do you think we could get? This is his words. He said, I looked at him and went like, this much market share with his arms. Like, and I guess one of the dudes who was viewing was like, we want that much market share. And he, like you said, he ended up being a VP of, so Pepsi owns Frito-Lay.
Yeah.
So he moved, so he ends up being a VP for like North Americans, whatever, for PepsiCo.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I told you, I'll tell, like, bro, I read the story at the end, like, I didn't cry, but I felt emotions inside of me. Like, bro, this is what
his grandpa meant when he said, let them know a Montanez did it. Like, he instilled that in him, and he
teaches marketing classes at some. He doesn't even have a degree. I mean, he maybe has a degree now, but he couldn't read when this all started.
He dropped out in 4th grade. Like, you gotta take chances.
That's crazy, bro. And it was just like I wonder. We've all had some BS jobs, but it's like, what if I actually applied myself at?
Yeah, if you weren't just collecting checks and you were like
showing up on autopilot, hating your job, talking S-word about your manager when he's not around, like, what if? But I feel like I feel like everyone starts a job really gung ho. We've all seen that, and then they realize like, oh, this is it. Like no one appreciates shit. Yeah, and it's hard to stay hungry.
Well, because you realize early on in a job how much that interview process is just both of you lying. Your resume is, and I don't mean lying like you may be truthful, but right, you're going in and you're saying the best version of yourself, which you are supposed to do. They tell you that, right? You go in there, you sell yourself in an interview. But that's what the companies do too, especially if you're doing a good job of selling yourself. They want you. They're going to sell themselves. They're going to tell you all this stuff, and they're going to present them at their peak, which most of the time is not true. So you go in and you see that they promise you things that aren't true. So it instantly, you just start deducting things where you're like, okay, I don't need to be and this, I feel like this is subconscious. I've never personally just thought this out loud and made the decisions based on that. But I do feel like it has that little bit of feeling of, they're not really delivering on their promise. Why should I deliver on my promise to be the best employee if they're not going to be the best employer? But it just shows like, and it's a little difference. I like to put that context, right? This was the best job he had. Like, so he was putting all in because this was the best job. So this wasn't his version of, that BS job you're just kind of a zombie through. So just to put that out there, I like to have that context. I feel like people sell you on different things and they don't tell you the full story. But even then, it just shows he took a chance on himself that most people don't. And man, we talked about that, right? When I gave those statistics for promotions. It's like 48% of men, 45% of women ever ask for, not a promotion, but a raise. Ever ask for one, even though 85% of people who have asked for one have received one. You just don't bet on yourself. It's so hard to bet on yourself because embarrassment and rejection. I know that's a huge fear, you know, especially was a bigger fear than it is now, but it's still a fear. And so it does make sense, but I mean, once people have that feeling of the worst they can say is no, and you're in the same exact spot that you are now, you're just going to be better off, you know. And I always tell you that, and I tell almost anybody that I have these type of discussions with, that the reason I do certain things, like to get money back when, you know, the government takes money from me wrongfully or whatever it is. Like I've had that, like the California Franchise Tax Board took money they weren't supposed to take, and I go and I fight for those things, or just fraudulent things, because there's so many people who will just let that money go because they don't want to deal with it. That same with like getting your direct deposits back. And I always say this, I fight for it because they have no problem giving me my money back, because all of the people who don't fight for it. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if I do want everyone to fight for it, because it might make it harder for me, but I do, at least in the people I know, instill that in them. So for our viewers, you'll be surprised in how much you'll get and how little time it actually takes, because that's also part of it, is taking the time to do it. But just if it's yours, get it. You know, there's no point to just give up free money, or in a lot of times free time. I mean, that was the beginning of this show, right? Like time is something that you can't buy more of. You know, we've talked about that on the deathbed. They regret the things they didn't do. They don't regret the things they did. So, like, people want time.
Yeah, and I didn't have a motivational quote, and you just had a great motivational moment. So let me just tack onto that to steal some credit from you real quick. Cool. But I would say that that's probably a rule of life, as far as, you know, just like, what's the worst, like, once I've asked for raises at jobs, and usually you do get them. Yeah. I could think of one example. It was a commission job, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm being paid fairly. And they squared me up. You know what I'm talking about.
Do more deals, you get paid more money.
But I think that applies to pretty much everything, whether it's the cute girl, whether it's the whatever, the workout plan, or whatever it is. You know, the rejection is like at worst, it's embarrassing. In my life, honestly, almost every time I've failed, people respect me more afterwards. Almost every time. Mm-hmm. I've gone up to a girl, she roast smokes me out, bro, and I'm like, and then my boy's like, bro, good, like, that's not on you, like, because it that fear of rejection, it's not, at worst you're embarrassed, which usually is not even going to happen. If you try and lose weight and you only lose 5 pounds instead of 50 pounds, someone's going to, anybody who would say something to you, shoot them. They're bad. They're terrible people. You know, like,
they're the people you really shouldn't care about what they
should not care about at all. Yeah. So I didn't have one. You had a great one. That's my piggyback. Don't ever be. You know, there's very few things in this world can kill you, believe it or not, and embarrassment's not one of them. So let that go. Take your L's with pride. You know, I take my L's. I like my L's more than my dubs at this point in my life. But so there's my piece.
Learn from them, I feel like. Nah, yeah, man, that was good. But I want to make sure.
He said he doesn't have COVID. He said he was like 50% sure he doesn't have COVID, just so you know.
50% is still high. I don't know how long we're in. I'm assuming it's 29 minutes based on the time. Far, yeah. So, what you got, man? What Christmas items you got?
You ready for the trivia?
Yeah, can I be part of trivia since I don't know questions, or is this just for the peoples?
It's going to be the people at home, write it down and just have fun. But it's really geared towards you.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
So I got 3 warm-up questions, and I only came up with 6 because we couldn't decide how many to ask. So you got 3 easy ones, 6 kind of hard ones. And I know you're not Googling it, so I'll give you a decent amount of time to solve it, and we'll bullshit as we go.
All right, cool.
People at home, if you have a topic, share it. But we'll go through these real quick, and
let's see how they go, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah.
What holiday drink is also known as milk punch?
Do they really call eggnog milk punch? Eggnog.
You're right. It's egg.
A
Milk punch.
I'm never calling eggnog.
But you gotta think, what
again.
makes a punch though? Because eggnog has to meet that requirement. It's got spices, it's got liquid, it's got alcohol in it. It's a punch. It's just
a milky version instead of juice. But they don't call it juice punch, right? But still, all right, cool. Or that's the eggnog. All right, no punch.
What did Rudolph's nose keep him from?
What did it keep him from?
Yeah, what did he not get to do because of his red nose?
He didn't get to play any reindeer. I definitely know he didn't. Like
I don't know much about Rudolph,
but he didn't.
That boy didn't play reindeer game.
I know that for a fact. I do know that. What's the answer to that one?
It's reindeer games. That's what he didn't get to do.
This is my favorite part. We should do trivia every single
We
week.
should add a trivia segment. They're not all that good. That's why I want to start with some funny ones.
Yeah. Milk punch.
Milk punch and reindeer games.
I don't even like eggnog either. That's the funniest part, so I get to just talk mess.
I just bought a whole thing in there, and I meant to grab some in some rum, but I'll do it after the show. I'm not an alcoholic. What alcohol traditionally goes in milk punch?
Ooh, brandy?
Rum.
Oh, rum. I was gonna say rum too.
Believe it, but honestly, that's a trick question.
That's what I thought it was rum, and I feel like I always say rum, but people are like, "No, it's brandy." So
it's a trick question that I looked it up, and that's what they said.
According to a YouTube
alcohol
video that me and Chris watched like 4 years ago, you could do Hennessy in there.
Bro, I swear to God, I almost wrote down not Hennessy because I knew you were going to say that.
So me and Chris, I hope Chris is watching too. We watched this video and then we did it. We did eggnog and Hennessy because we watched this very low budget rap video called Eggnog and
I put
Hennessy.
Hennessy in my eggnog.
Dude, you know they just going through the house, just drinking. Dude, it was so funny.
It would have been fun if you would have been like,
But
lean?
not cognac.
Is it activist?
Would it happen to be cognac? Is it cognac?
All right, sparked eggnog. Let me just make sure.
Right.
Right here, it's also called milk punch. This is in the recipe, not where I got this from.
All right. But it's rum. All right.
So wait. Milk often consumed with rum.
Okay.
They say whiskey.
Oh, right.
This one says whiskey and rum.
See, I should have just said rum. I should have went with my first. My
You
gut.
can do brandy.
Hey,
I 100%
remember,
had brandy in it before. I know for a fact.
This is another motivational thing. Go with your gut.
You know what? Listen to your heart when you find yourself in a moment like this.
I'm
far
not
you're
a milk and alcohol guy. I do like
Bailey's.
I like coffee with Jameson.
Things are going to get hard now, and you've already missed one.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna kill the rest of these now.
What made Frosty the Snowman come to life?
Oh, it's a silk hat. Old silk hat.
Bro.
I only know this because this was part of a trivia question a couple weeks ago at work.
All right.
It's an old silk hat, to be exact.
Silk hat is what I have written down.
I knew it was
bonus question. Yeah. When they put the hat on him, this can earn you back a point and it won't lose you a point. What did he start to do?
I'm gonna go with dance.
Bro, it's dance, bro. He did the same thing Richard would do.
Exactly.
You put a hat on this man.
I'm gonna cut a rug up. Yeah.
Right. So
let's
now,
go. All right,
so now you're back even. Yeah.
Let's go.
This is I'll accept one of two answers for this.
All right.
Because it's a little tricky. I think you'll get the right one though. Highest grossing Christmas movie of all time. Listen to your heart, bro. That's not a clue. I'm just giving you advice.
Because they had to drop in the movies, right? That I'm going to go Home Alone. Home Alone.
Home Alone, adjusted for inflation, is like over $500 million.
Oh, so there's a modern one.
Non-adjusted is The Grinch. Not Jim Carrey's The Grinch, believe it or not. The one that came out like a year ago. That
the cartoon one.
Yeah.
That it was actually better than I thought it. I watched it super late, but it was better than I thought it was going to be.
So non-adjusted, that's the highest.
Wow.
Adjusted Home Alone's the highest.
Wow. I was hoping it wasn't going to be like, a Christmas Carol or something to some random like that. Not random, but just like where you're like, really? That did a crazy amount? Home Alone. Let's go. Keep it going.
So you're on Macaulay Culkin, bro. Could you imagine being him in the 90s?
Dude, Richie Rich. He was just crushing.
He did the first 2 Home Alones, right? And then that other kid from Home
did
Improvement did the third one or something. Bro.
Which I also like.
How much
I like
did
that
they pay
one.
him for that sequel?
The last kid?
No, to get Richie Rich, Macaulay Culkin back for number 2.
Lost in New York?
After they made $500 million at the time.
I don't know if this one was similar, but was that one of the movies where they did it like very close to each other though? Because he's not that much older, right? In the second one.
No.
So it might, I don't know. So they might have got a deal for him to do both of them because I think they shot them pretty quick. That's like the Three Ninjas. They did that with the Three Ninjas. They shot 2 of them together. That's why they like released weird. They released the first one, then they released Strike Back, then they released the second one where they were closer in age because of something going on with the second one.
I need to rewatch those, bro. Those were my favorite. Some of my.
And then they did that really crap one where they go to Space Mountain and it had a different.
That's the one that I remember. Yeah.
Hogan. That was the worst one. I hated that. All right, go ahead.
Question 6.
Come on.
Back to an easy one just to give you a free point.
Nice.
How do you say Merry Christmas in Spanish?
Feliz Navidad. Oh, what was that? There was one of those, where it's like, it was like the text, and they were like, hey, what's that one song where it's like, Feliz? It was like something. I was crying, laughing, like, dude, no way.
A little harder.
All right.
What is the traditional tree topper?
It's an angel.
It's an angel, not a star.
Yeah.
Good word, boy. You're not getting this one. Best-selling...
No, don't give no hints first.
Best-selling Christmas song.
All I Want for Christmas, Mariah Carey.
I didn't believe it, but it's a song called White Christmas, and I guess it's from back in the day.
Okay.
I mean, we talked about that's one of my favorites,
version,
but I guess the original one is from a movie called White Christmas. It's black and white from like the 20s, so it doesn't really...
So it just has longevity probably, which helps it.
Yeah, so I don't even know if it's true.
If you would have told me some random stuff like Baby It's Cold.
Bro, we got to talk about that. On no other episode, we don't talk about a rapey, weird song with the times.
And then, they're like, oh, now they're, changing the lyrics, and everyone's, up in arms, this wasn't weird to nobody ever? This dude kidnapped someone.
Bro, she says, oh, what's in this drink? Bro. They sang that song for 70 years. No one said a thing about it.
Oh my god, that was one of the things because I did feel like, all right, let's finish this. We'll talk about that. Remember, we'll come back.
And the 6th and final, first company to use Santa in an advertisement.
Macy's.
Coca-Cola.
Oh, that actually would have been early up. That probably would have been my number 2 guess too.
And it was in the. I don't remember the time, but what I learned, we'll just double this over with a random fact. Before Coca-Cola got to him, Santa wasn't really a thing. In the year 1900, there wasn't a red leader of the elves that came to your house. It was they had. Oh, I do have another question, but so they kind of are responsible, which we'll see as we get through these random facts. Christmas is a marketing. It's all made up.
There's
marketing
a story
stuff.
about that. I'm pretty sure about how they came together to do that too.
Because before him, according to what I read, the most famous guy was Krampus or Krampus. You remember that?
Yeah.
He has horns.
Yeah.
Cloven hoof. He's like a demon.
Yeah.
And he would take German kids. That was the most famous Christmas character. But what were we about to say?
No. Oh, what were we just saying? Santa not being a thing before then. Oh, no. And we were talking about that. Sorry, this is totally off subject, but I always thought this was a crazy story about Coca-Cola and these major companies made recycling a thing. because they were like ruining the environment with their plastic bottles. And so they were like, oh, we need to stop drinking this. And they were like, no, you guys are just terrible and need to learn to recycle. And they like spent like millions, maybe even billions of money lobbying.
No, keep drinking it. Just keep your bottle.
Yeah, like do better. Like, you guys are trash. Stop just throwing it on the ground. And so they like made this initiative. I thought that was the wildest, but not. I mean, that's smart if you come from there. And I will be honest. I'm getting better. I'm starting to be more empathetic and care more as I get older. I'll admit that. But there are a lot of things in my life where I feel like I would have helped come up with that. If I was in an idea room, I would have been like, no. If there's an issue with people just throwing it on the ground, it sounds like it's them thing. Let's put together and like that to me is just. Yeah, I feel like it's easy when you're not on the money-making side, you know?
I think about that sometimes, like, who comes up with... Like, I find a hard time believing a genuine scientist, and I don't want to go off on this, but I have a hard time believing, like, a genuine scientist, like, climate change. Like, I feel like that, even if it's true or not true, I feel like that was started by some company and it backfired. I really think about that sometimes, just because of the point you just made. Like, these ideas don't just come out of nowhere. But I don't know who would benefit from that. I'll come up with a theory for next week.
So, Baby It's Cold Outside.
Okay.
So when they had that, they did the PC culture thing on that song, and people were like not happy about it. I was like, really? Look, I get it. We do not need to PC everything. Can we admit, though, I should not be grocery shopping or in stores, retail shopping, hearing about a rape encounter? Like that, like, no, you should stay. Like, he was just manipulative from the beginning. Like, it's literally, the song title is him manipulating her.
I wanna stand up for it because I'm so anti-PC.
But I agree with you. That's, I think, was my thing too.
I just listened to this song, and I really was like, this is amazing that because the version I listened to was Zooey Deschanel, who's like a modern girl from New York or whatever, singing the original words. And like, she's like trying to come up with every excuse, like my mom, the neighbors, my brother's waiting for me. It just gives that
vibe of it's, the fire's lit. It's very Christmassy in there. She already has her hand on the knob, opening it. He hit her with the little push the door shut, and it's singing to her. And I don't know if that's in the weird, creepy video that they probably made, but.
But what do you think, like I don't know when Frank Sinatra was at his prime. I don't remember the time. Or if that was even his original song or not. But this is just for conversation, bro. I always gotta preface this. Like, what if, like, obviously it was acceptable at the time.
Yeah. I mean, in 40 years and 70 years after that, basically.
So, like, maybe as millennials, like, our courtship rituals are different to where, like, it's if a girl tells you no one time, the game is over. Yeah. There is no more. But maybe in the 30s or whatever, it was like, we're gonna play this back and forth. Like, maybe it was just known. Like, dude, you're gonna say no. But if you don't tell me, like, no, we're gonna keep playing. You like, maybe there's, but as a millennial listening to it, it's troubling.
It's not even maybe though, right? Like, they made a Christmas song about it that is, I would imagine, I don't know, I would imagine as a top 10 Christmas song of all time. I mean, you hear it like crazy.
I know probably the whole song, and I mean,
and so that's what I mean is, like, it's not even a mate. Like, that obviously was courtship to them because it was a hit. Like, people weren't listening to that.
A Christmas family hit too. It just wasn't exactly. Like a B-side. Like,
I mean, and that's why I gave you are in a store listening to that song.
So I mean, philosophically, like, do we just keep it as a? We all know I mean, well, a couple people I don't listen to Baby It's Cold Outside, and I'm like, I'm gonna try these when the next girl comes over. I'm gonna just not let her go out. Like, It doesn't influence me negatively. So can we just enjoy it as
and
art?
there's not really duet Christmas songs, right? So that back and forth man and woman thing is just like it's a staple to Christmas music. So I don't, it's just one of the. Do we need it? Are we fine without "Baby It's Cold Out"? I think we are, right? I don't
Yeah,
think.
but you could say that for any piece of art.
But like, do you want rock?
Are you fine without books? Are you fine
do you
without
want your
1984?
Do you want?
Form?
I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. But do you want like Ross to hear that later, right? Like, is that? Do you want that to be one of her Christmas songs that she hears later? Maybe not.
I mean, someone else had. I'm sure it was Michael, but had a good point about older generation talking about WAP.
Mm-hmm.
We find that completely acceptable, allegedly, in our generation. I don't want her listening to that either. Yeah. Like, art is just a funny thing where, we tear down statues and we rewrite history books and yada, etc. And like I said, I don't know if that does more harm to the human psyche than Call of Duty. I don't know. They don't do studies on this type of stuff. I don't know. It's that I will admit it's an odd song as I'm an adult listening to it. But
have you ever heard OPP?
So, yeah, that's a weird point. You put me in a weird spot because I don't want to stand up for it.
No, but I do understand what you mean, though. I mean, I don't think that we can revise everything. I think there are some things that I think that, and what we always go, I think that should be a choice of yours. It's like, if it doesn't bother you just because it has a Christmas feel, which it does, like it has a Christmas feel to it. So if it doesn't bother you, then who cares? I don't think you should be like, oh, you're listening to that, you're into that rapey stuff. No. Do I think we should judge the people who made the song? No. Because that obviously was okay at the time. There's a reason it lasted as long as it did. And that's always going to be one of my main arguments I make. This isn't really on that same topic, but in a way is we cannot judge people based on today's standards for things they did in the past. I think that's one of the craziest things that happens now. We see things that happened in the past and we judge them by today's standards. I always give this example because I do think we'll get there. Everyone calls me crazy when I say this. Imagine if later they're like, dude, you used to have your dog on a leash? Like, that's so inhumane.
It's going to eventually.
Yeah, like, you crate trained your dog? That's crazy. They're basically humans. Like, what are you doing? And imagine your grandkids being like, Papa,
you ate meat?
You used
just wait.
Or whatever it is, right? And that's where, imagine, and you, like, if you say that now, people are like, that's crazy. That's not going to happen. But if it did, and you had to defend yourself to your grandkids about something that is so simple, that's every day, or it's best practice even, that's crazy. And I think that was something I wrote down. I think we need to differentiate. If you tell someone their thinking is wrong, that's where I think you should be judged. Right now, they're canceling people based on stuff they did. I think it should be more of, hey, we feel like this is wrong. What's your reaction to that? If you're like, no, I don't give it, I was right, da-da-da, then okay, that's a conversation we have. But if you show remorse, it's so crazy that we're like, no, you can't show remorse and you can't grow and you can't learn, which most of the people even come out and say, like, yeah, I had a different thinking then. Like, that was okay at that time. I now have been educated. I've talked to all these people. There's more information out there for me to know. If you have that, then like, let's move on, because we've all done. There's so many things in the past that were okay that people have done. And I'll always say that, man, it's so easy to be in the cancel culture, but if we are all held to a standard, especially when it comes to celebrities, if we've all been held to that same standard, we've all done cancelable things. So,
not me. No, I mean,
we should start deleting these episodes so that
no, you already know I agree. I just think it's specifically with art, like, the whole point is kind of, I mean, maybe not, there's poppy music, just in broad strokes, like, it's kind of just to tell the story of the time. It's kind of just to tell, like, WAP fits our time. Maybe the best of any other song, that, so it's like, that's kind of the job. So just because you look back and you don't like what you see, it's not a PhD. It's not a scientific work. It's not a dissertation. It's a piece of art some guy made, and you don't have to like it, just to your point. Yeah. But as you were talking, it made me think of my least favorite Christmas song. Do you want to take a guess? It's tough. I'll give you a hint. It's definitely condescending towards Africans.
Just tell me what it is.
Do they know it's Christmas time in Africa?
Is that? Have I not heard that Christmas time?
Bro, you haven't heard that?
Based on the title, I'm not listening to it on purpose. It would have had to come through a Pandora playlist or something.
Do they know it's Christmas time? I'm probably off tune and key, but like, it was like supposed to raise awareness for like starvation in Africa.
You know what song I've really never like? I've never been a Silent Night fan.
It's a little somber.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's too somber for your boy.
I've probably seen it a billion times growing up. We used to go. I used to go Christmas caroling every year on Christmas Eve with my church, so I know I've sang it. We probably sing it a dozen times a night.
I was just watching a show where they went caroling and he brought a guitar. No, what show was it?
Let me turn this shit down real quick. You gotta at least hear the tune. We'll play it for 15 seconds and see if you remember it. Hold on.
Is this a Christmas song?
Yeah. Do they know it's Christmas? Who sings it? It's like the guy from Pop. It's like a bunch of 80s bands came together to make this. I don't think the mic can pick up on it, hopefully.
I feel like maybe I've heard this. But it might just because that voice though. So they came together like, we're about to make this
We're about to save Africa with this Christmas jam. Oh, bro, dude, can they make a more content? Like, I can't stand that song. One, this is just your typical liberal stuff. They don't know it's Christmas because they're not Christians. 99% of them don't believe in Jesus Christ. So, yeah, they just randomly celebrate December 26th or 5th, 6th in Africa in the middle of winter for what? What? Just your typical not thinking, like when those celebrities did that song like 6 months ago. Like, oh God, did you see that compilation where they were singing?
Oh, Gal Gadot started that one.
Oh God, just so tone deaf. Like, no, just so if you actually cared, they don't know. Most of them live in villages with no contact to the outside world.
Oh, and they also don't celebrate Christmas because you guys are.
Yeah, they're not whites. But anyway, so they're just a random fact. That's easily my least favorite Christmas song would be Band-Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas Time in Africa.
All right.
Let's cancel them. But no, it's... are you ready for another random fact?
Yeah, what you got?
If any Japanese people are watching, they're probably going to say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I found this on the internet. In Japan...
World Wide Web.
Do you want to guess what fast food chain is the traditional Christmas meal?
McDonald's.
KFC. To the point where if you want Christmas dinner from KFC, you have to order food 2 months ahead.
What?
Yes. I don't know. I didn't read up the history. I didn't have time.
So they probably don't, same thing, probably don't celebrate Christmas, but the people who do things on Christmas.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think there's a whole. That's why I wanted to preface it. I don't know how they celebrate Christmas. If they buy gifts, I don't know. I didn't get time to research it. But whatever their Christmas
American culture, they're in love with American culture.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Probably it's kind of like we'll eat American food on it. You know, it kind of.
Yeah.
But it's so popular
from Kentucky.
that it's 2 months out. They order Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Like they go into Boston Market.
I wonder how much money KFC makes in their Asian market and who's responsible for that. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, hey, they're gonna watch. We're gonna just sell this whole American thing to them. They're gonna eat it by the bucket.
Dude, seriously, this is something we need to do on the show, and this is research we need to do. Why does Arby's have so much money?
They're funneling drugs. There's no.
They have to be, right? They bought Buffalo Wild Wings. They just bought someone else too, like a couple chains, I think.
Hold on, real quick. I think we're still live. Do you have it pulled up?
No, I don't. Sorry.
You mean once we're having technical difficulties? All right, we're still live, but I can't see us.
Oh yeah, they just purchased Dunkin' Donuts too.
Arby's did, bro.
Oh, and Sonic? Did they get Sonic too? Dude, so Arby's owns Sonic, Buffalo Wild Wings, and Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, so they're living off of Buffalo Wild Wings.
No, they bought them though. Like they bought them when I was still confused why. Because the one on Willerga I thought was the craziest thing. I thought they were closing down and they were remodeling. I was like, you remodel?
Wait, they have enough money to... Well, I guess when you charge $17 for a combo, you don't have to sell a whole bunch of them to make money.
No, I don't care, dude. They have to be money laundering.
Long Johns, bro.
I refuse to believe they're not money laundering.
Maybe we can become an investigative journalist. Can we get a job at Arby's HQ, check their books, see how many roast beef sandwiches
there's a lot of people
selling.
Committing suicide these days. I don't know if we want to go out because Long John Silver's took us out. Dude, you go out because you were investigating why Long John Silver's is open? Come on. That's not the story.
And then they'll do a biography on us in like 50 years when they finally release we got outed by the CIA who was in bed with the Arby's, letting them funnel this. They're on to us. Like, wait, they didn't even have any fun.
We're like telling all these fun facts. We're on a podcast in 20 years. The crazy story about the Jules&Rich podcast. They did an investigation.
Maybe it'll blow up posthumously. Who knows? Shoot, yeah, sorry. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I don't know how Arby's makes money. I don't know how Long John Silver's makes money. I love them both, but no one's ever there when I'm there. Is it still showing up for you?
Long John Silver's?
No, is it our video still showing up?
I don't know. I'm not looking at that. I was looking at Pooh.
So I don't care if anybody else is watching this crap. No, we're still on. That's weird. Well, while you're looking up who owns that, it's most likely the Medellin cartel.
No, this I'm already past Arby's. I already know they're money laundering. There's no way.
Not even interested. For those who are listening, while he researches this, I'll tell you another rant. No, you keep looking, bro. I'll talk to myself. So we talked about Mariah. We'll check that off the list. We talked about KFC. We'll check that off. All right. So this is a short one, but do you want to take just a guess at how long it takes a Christmas tree to achieve Christmas tree size? If you plant a little tree, how long do you think it takes to be 6 feet or thereabout?
3 years?
15 years, they said.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, kind of. And they sell them for like $40.
So that your family had to be in the game.
To be honest, I kind of doubt what they're saying is true. Maybe like if you start from a seed, but like if you just took a tree, because I don't know if you've ever done this, and you cut it, it just shoots a bunch more up.
Yes, they're called suckers.
There you go. Or tree copsing. There's a whole industry. Yeah. But it doesn't take that long. Like if you've probably cut down a tree and come back the next year and there's literally trees growing out of the stump.
They'll keep going.
I found it a little hard to believe, but yeah, to your point.
I mean, to Christmas tree size though. 15 years.
15 years is a long time, bro. Because think about have you ever gone up to Apple Hill to pull it?
No, not to pull
it. It would be bare. It would be naked up there. Like
now for sure, right?
No, because we go to the same lot every
years
year.
Ago.
We go to the same lot. Yeah, there's spots where there's not tall trees. There's little trees.
Yeah.
But after 15 years of people... Anyway, but to your point...
Are there speedy
bro, I wonder if there's like... Up in Washington, there's like rich families and like, where'd they get their money? Like, oh, that's the Christmas tree cartel. Like, they bought up all the land and planted those... What are those trees called? Those Douglas firs. They were way ahead of their time back in 2000. Now they're just You got to think you could probably sell... In all of America, I think I had seen that like 85% of Americans have a Christmas tree. So that's 300 million Christmas trees. That's a lot. So you just need a little piece. You just need this much market share of that. But yeah, just a random fact. They say it takes 15 years. I find it hard to believe, but in case you've ever wondered, which I have, Richard is still distracted with something else.
No. So I want to look this up. Fastest growing Christmas tree is a Leland cypress, and it'll grow 3 to 4 feet per year.
Yeah, so 2-3 years.
So there are versions that
Did you type up slowest
Well,
growing?
I will if that's it. So I did not. Yeah.
But yeah, I've always thought like those ways of making money. I wonder, you work 3 months out of the year, you harvest a bunch of trees, drive them down to some sap in LA, sell it to them for 70, $80. Shoot.
No, I feel like when you give them the deals and let them come cut it down themselves, you're winning.
Bro, they're not that. In Apple Hill, they charge you, I think it's $15 a foot. You cut your own tree down. They don't even have to. They don't have to distribute
That's
it.
like Korean barbecue. You go in there and you cook your own food, and you're paying to
And you
do
just
the
burn
job.
all your food, smell
And
smoke.
you do it worse. Yeah. You're just
Hey, can someone come cook this for me real quick? I'll give you $10.
There's like self-checkout. Like pay. Don't get me wrong. I like not having to deal with a person, but you're doing the job.
Yeah, can I get a discount? Like, you're paying this guy $15 an hour. This takes about a couple minutes. I need at least 50 cents back. Like,
you should really. They should give you a discount for going through. I'm doing the job.
the problem then, all the old people are like, I want that discount, and
Oh my!
ruin the whole thing for everybody.
I've been to a Winco in Rockland.
It just happened to me. Another random fact. This one I kind of enjoyed. You'll guess it from just what we've already talked about. Where do you want to? How do I phrase it? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Not a story, not a movie, not a song. Montgomery Ward, back in the 1800s, would give away coloring books to customers. They got tired of paying their illustrators, so they hired an in-house illustrator, and it just happened to be on the cover of one of the magazines was a red-nosed reindeer. That's the beginning. Hello?
You're live.
Bruh, Jesus Christ, coming in my house like that.
I was like, who was here?
Bruh,
We almost murdered someone on camera.
dog, you coming in
Are
here
you
coughing
alive,
and shit? What are you doing?
Why are you here?
Because you said, "Are we live?" And I'm like, "You're live."
I've never seen him get somewhere so fast my whole life. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You just sniffly?
Huh?
You sniffly?
A little bit.
You got body aches?
No, I don't have any COVID stuff.
You still smelling?
Yeah, I can taste and smell.
Yeah.
Tasting? Okay.
I'm safe. Don't worry. I
Bro,
won't
if
touch
you
anything.
ever barge in my house, I saw things.
The gate is open, by the way.
That is Zoe here?
I don't know. The gate.
She
is
was
open.
here when I got here, actually. So, I don't know if she's still here. But,
Bruh.
alright,
Sorry.
back to our
How
show
scared
before.
are you?
Bro, I don't know if you saw the look in my eyes,
Because
bro.
I was even trying to think who would be here right now. But,
You just created a...
yeah.
I-
We're still going. We're still going.
So Montgomery Ward, they created him as a marketing thing, so they wouldn't have to buy other people's coloring books. They used their own and designed Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and he from there, I guess, was so popular they then created a story. But originally, it was to give to kids whose parents were shopping at Montgomery Ward.
Wow. And then they made all this. So are they getting paid off of Rudolph stuff?
I mean, I think
that's like
they're
one of my
bankrupt by
favorite.
now,
That's true. But that's like one of my favorite cartoon Christmas movies. Is that
You
little
remember
Rudolph one?
You remember the name of the?
Was that was like a clay one?
Yeah, that was a clay one. And remember, he had to run from the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
But he teamed up with that dude,
little
Yukon
blue-
Cornelius.
Is that the dude that's wearing the blue outfit, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that tomorrow, bro. That and Little Drummer Boy. I think they're both. Little Drummer Boy's only like 20
That
minutes.
and Frosty the Snowman. That's
Right, I think they're all. I bet in an hour you could watch all three of them. But I thought that was so. Just to my point, Santa was created by
marketing.
Coca-Cola. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Montgomery Ward. I learned about mistletoe.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
not terribly. I mean, it's kind of
I
interesting,
kind of
but
want
I
to
don't
hear that.
want.
Yeah, the origin.
So one of the myths.
Which is also.
So a lot of this.
Can
stuff,
I at least tell that story? Like,
What?
if you don't know, mistletoe is like a deadly virus to trees.
Yeah, it
too.
kills them.
So it literally sucks the life out of trees.
Yeah, when you look at a
which
tree
is
with
even
no
funnier
leaves
than-
and there's this big
big
green.
green
There's no
patches and-
leaves on this tree, and there's this big green ivy, like round, weird shaped leaves, like kind of like this.
yeah, it's
That's killing your tree.
mistletoe,
And that's
it's
mistletoe.
So also like drag someone under it like it's cold outside, and then get a kiss too. But also you need to have someone pull that out because it's dying.
So the
But yeah, mistletoe.
Many origins, but one of them, a lot of this stuff comes from Germany for whatever reason.
Yeah, they had
Saint. Oh, that
Christmas
was
Saint Nick. Yeah, that's probably.
But so the story was there was a goddess whose son was murdered by some magical guy, and then
They do not play.
they don't play, and then
Even
someone
their nursery rhymes are very similar to that. Where
well, that's where all of our stories come
but theirs
from.
were like
and
dark.
they're dark. Yeah. Well, we just talked about Krampus, bro.
Yeah.
That's German.
Yeah.
But so her son, this guy gets killed by some guy with a bow and arrow, and some magician or whatever comes along and cures him with mistletoe. And she's so happy that she says every time she sees mistletoe, she's going to kiss whoever's around. Allegedly, that led to the modern tradition of kissing someone under the mistletoe.
So it kills trees, brings humans back to life.
I guess it's because it's so. Another thing I learned, because it's so has so much vitality, it was always like a sign for life.
Okay.
It could survive where other things can't, etc. So, just probably one of my last random facts. I got one more we'll do a little later, but we're at 108, so you feel free to jump in with something. Yeah, man. Dude, I had a lot of fun this.
But no, cool.
Well, it's not showing up on here,
Earlier.
but yeah, I had a lot of fun, man. This was one of my favorite episodes.
I always like these type of ones where we just talk about favorite type of things. That's one of the things I had on the topic list. Do you have a favorite present that you've received on Christmas?
Did he leave? Bro, that fool really. Yeah. I was scared.
Was sketch.
I was very scared. Maybe not scared, but I was expecting somebody else to boom. I was like, maybe my mom forgot something.
Yeah.
Favorite Christmas gift. When I was a kid, my dad or my mom, I think it was my dad, bought me a Pokey Trainer. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably one of my favorites. I got a Game Boy when I was. They were all when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
My parents bought me a lot of cool stuff when I was a kid. What about you?
Oh no, I was a little crybaby, so I used to get mad whenever stuff that was like actually on my list. I was one of those for sure. I watch movies about those type of kids. I'm like so mad. Like you just don't even know what they're, because it's always from the parents' perspective, and when you're a kid, you don't understand that. I don't know. I did also get a lot of cool stuff. I'll probably say closer to like end of elementary, because that's when I was getting my last gifts. Basically, I was receiving a lot of cool stuff. So I don't know. It was different. There was definitely different stuff. Like I got a game system. Technically I got my GameCube for Christmas. I got like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 10 cans for Christmas before. That was probably one of the best. Because I remember I used to see kids get those at Walmart, and I used to be those single pack shawties. So when I see all people get those cans, I used to be so jealous. And so then, yeah, I got like the Blue Eyes White Dragon 10 was pretty cool. I got a bike. That was one of the things I cried about. I was just talking to my brother about that. I wanted a new bike. And my mom must have had my brother get me a bike. And it was one of them real hood bikes that had like a bunch of different parts on it that was spray painted, so
the best kind of bike you mean?
So the neighbor kid didn't know you stole it, basically. No, but it did. But it was sick though, because it did. I remember that was the first bike I had that had like the gyro handlebars. I loved that thing. It had like GT, and that's what it had, legit parts though. It had like GT parts, Haro parts, so it was legit. But and that's what I mean. Like, I was just such a crybaby. Like, in my mind, I wanted a new bike. I wanted to have one of those bikes from Walmart, even though it was a Huffy and it wasn't, this fresh BMX bike. I just wanted that feeling of a bow on a new bike that I watched everyone have. And so I was sad about it. And then I loved it, man. I enjoyed it a lot, and I had a good time, and I realized how lucky I was. But oh no, I got one of those portable basketball hoops one year where I didn't have to go to the park. I didn't have to go to the park anymore. I could just hoop at the house. That was fresh too. That was one of my better ones too. But no, man, I should have been. That's, man, just growing up and realizing just how much adults do. There's so many things you just don't even think about that makes you be able to live a life. And that's what, for me personally, like with my mom, she really just hid the reality of my situation from me very well. And I look back at it where I realized there was plenty of signs for me to realize what the scenario was, but yeah, I was very thankful of that. I think, I'll always talk about that. Like, I've come from the hood. I could tell you stories where it's like, oh no, you're from the hood. You should have noticed. Like, you are a hood kid. But my mom didn't make me feel like that. And that even comes from having to be babysat because she was working till 6, But I just felt like she did a great job. She did the things that really mattered to a kid where I did feel free. I mean, not like we would let a kid do now because we have the internet and we see the strange weirdos that are out there. And so she probably gave me more free reign than I would say is cool to give a kid now. But I definitely never felt like we were struggling. And so now to look back at it and be like, you were struggling and you somehow hid that from me, that's crazy. But that's awesome, And even then, I was not appreciative enough. I should have been. I think I was through my actions and what I, represented. That was a huge thing I had as a kid, is who I am outside of my home represents my home and my mom especially. And I always used to do that with my mom when I got a cell phone. I think the first time I got a cell phone, it was in eighth grade. Anytime someone complimented my mom, whether it was opening a door for someone or whatever it was, I would always text her, hey, just got a compliment. Because I thought that was so cool. Like, you do represent your parents when you do things, especially when you're younger. I thought that was always an awesome thing. And
that's a good point. That is crazy, bro. And I don't want to. That was a good. I don't want to dismiss, or I'm not trying to change the subject, but it is funny how like Nolan now watches me do stuff, and I have to like try and be cognizant of like these are the memories he'll remember.
Yeah.
And I gotta like try and do all of this stuff that he'll hopefully enjoy. And thank you for his gifts. That'll make his Christmas even. I did buy him a bunch of stuff, if no one else, but. You just like remind me of like you remember when you were like 16? Like I'll never forget. Like my dad doesn't understand. Like they forgot what it's like. Like now I'm 29. I don't really remember what I wanted when I was 4 or 5 or 6. Like so it's hard. Like you just don't give your parents any credit growing up.
Yeah.
And then if you're like me and you have a lucky childhood, you're like trying to at least be as good of a parent as what you had access to. And it's just funny how things change for you. And like hopefully I did pretty good this year, but like his first bike, he can already ride a bike. Luckily someone else gave him a bike, but he'll want a new bike. He wanted a bike this year. He wanted a puppy, and it's like, well, I can't handle a puppy right now, so and it's, but I don't think he'll be heartbroken. Like I remember being like, I like what I got, but like the number one thing is well, your dad got 2 jobs, bro. You're not getting a pup. Like, know what I mean? Like, or your mom or whoever. Like, you're not getting a puppy, bro.
You just think of like the most common thing when you think of even TV shows, movies, like for a kid, a pony, right? Like that's when you always think of like parents, like I'll get you anything. You're just not getting a pony, right? That's like us now. There are those things where. You can't get them certain things, and that's what I love, man. I count a lot of nieces and nephews. You know how I feel about Nolan and Roz and Scotty and Mila. Like I do. I want to be that. I had that when I was a kid. Those just like aunts and uncles that you never saw, but you would get a birthday card from. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, I don't remember them, but when I see them, they're cool people, and that's for me is why I do it. And I have a note list now where I'm just putting more and more kids, it feels like, on the list to make sure I get them something, because it is a little bit about that. It's a little bit about that feeling of opening gifts, because this is, kind of goes against what I just talked about, but I do remember when I first learned about Santa was kind of because I had to, it was genuinely, all right, you're getting older, you're going to get a couple gifts this year because you have a younger sister that needs to have that belief in Santa more than you. Also, how do you feel about helping wrap some gifts, right? Like that's really kind of how I learned the Santa's not real anymore. So that to me makes me feel really, really special about helping the kids that I have love for to just have a good time. And I am very like, oh, what do you want? That's something that I asked Nolan even is like, what do you want from
What did he
Santa?
say?
Like, what do you want? And
You wanted the Mastodon?
no, he didn't tell me that. He did say he was like, I want more bullets for my guns. He did say he wanted more. He was like, I want more guns. I want more bullets for my guns. And so, that's something that I do find very important is just, try to at least do my part in that to make sure they're going to open stuff. And kids are really even weird. And I do that even where I get stuff that can be broken up and I'll wrap it multiple times just so they could open more stuff. Because sometimes it's that. It's not that I got this really, really awesome gift. It's like I only got this and a couple things. And for us, we're like, do you know how much that one thing costs? Like, you got a huge item and a couple things. And so I try to, think of the terrible. Luckily, I do remember, the terrible thoughts that I had that I don't even say are terrible as a kid because you really can't help it. You view either yourself against other people or just what you feel like is valuable as a kid, which is sometimes getting a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it is getting the one big item like a bike or whatever it may be. So I just try to do my part to help kids feel whatever they're going to feel on Christmas, which is sometimes love and sometimes is regret because they didn't get a puppy or a pony. So sometimes they get a little horse on a stick as a pony, right? So just being creative with it.
And what do you feel like? And we're at 7:15, I think, or rough. I'm looking at my clock.
Yeah, it's 7. Yeah.
So I mean, probably one of the last thoughts, but like, how do you feel about Christmas as you get older personally? Like, did you feel any? Obviously, it's a weird year, but like, did you feel any Christmas joy or any like?
No, dude.
Like, anything?
Probably for a long time. I do like doing the different stuff. Like even when I go home, me and Bree are gonna do Christmas cookies. Like I like the traditions, and that's what I mentioned earlier. I like some of the good traditions you do. I like that feel, Thanksgiving and Christmas this time. I love because it's about love. It's about family, and that's why I kind of dislike Christmas is because it's so much drained out of you because you're doing the picking gifts for people. I get, like I mentioned earlier, so stressed out picking gifts for people. I don't even care about the money factor of it. It's just the picking them, making sure I got everybody something. If I got somebody something small, do I get something else to go with it? That part to me, I can personally do without, and I always tell myself, and I've been doing better the last couple of years in terms of birthdays and Christmases. There's some people you're not going to get a Christmas gift, but you might get a random gift throughout the year because I saw something that I thought you would like. And I didn't want to force myself on Christmas to buy you something you're not going to end up using just because I wanted to get you a gift. So I'm doing better of that. But yet, for sure, as I get older, I just despise Christmas, especially because I love Thanksgiving because it's about the spending time with people. I mean, you have to figure out your dish or whatever it may be, but Christmas, it's not even about the blowing money thing. It's just about the stress I put on myself to buy people gifts is too much. I could do without it for sure. I guess I don't like that. The more marketing aspect of it and how it's all about buying gifts and wrapping gifts perfectly so they look all perfectly and pristine.
I'm pretty nice with my box wrapping usually. Yours look good though.
Oh, I didn't wrap them. Bree wrapped them.
Oh, that makes sense then.
Yeah, mess with me, you'll get all your gifts in bags. I'm over it. I don't, especially when you watch people open gifts. Like I'm gonna take my time to wrap your gifts for you to open the gift like that.
When you were a kid, did you guys do the you open gifts each person at a time, or was it battle royale?
Oh, it was definitely battle royale style.
Bro, that's how mine was too.
So you had the one person like under the tree giving gifts to everyone, and you were just opening them things. Someone had a trash bag so you could throw your wrapping paper in, and you were just going crazy. Then people were yelling at you to take pictures with your random gifts. No,
try it on.
What did you get? Look at me. Hold it up. And you're like, no, I don't care about this because it's some PJs or whatever, and you're trying to open your toys. Yeah.
Have you ever been to anyone else's house and like maybe Breeze or a friend or
Oh,
something,
where
and
they
they're
do the
like,
one by one.
and everyone's looking at you as you open up one gift have you ever experienced
have.
that? Were they white?
They were.
I knew it, bro. The first time I experienced that, I was like, wait, like, I don't like this at all. It makes it last a lot longer, but like everyone looking at you, like, here's a reality: not every gift's gonna be a hitter. So making me fake on everyone,
Exactly. I'd rather
it's kind of rude on your part, honestly.
I'd rather open my gifts I'm not happy about on the low. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm gonna just no. You gotta. Oh, I was gonna open it at home.
Like open that ugly Christmas sweater. And this was like that tradition is so funny to me. Like now we do it and we have all these parties, but ugly Christmas sweaters literally comes from your like grandparents and parents buying you sweaters from Christmas time that are just terrible. Right? And so that's where it comes from. And so that one like opening it one at a time. I have to open this and be like, yay!
Like,
Cool.
we've already seen this reaction, not because there's a bunch of other people. There's only so happy you can get. I'm not about to do a backflip. So it's like, I'm a Battle Royale fan. 100% Battle Royale. Everyone open up your stuff. Knock it out.
Just go. And then, like, you're just like, it's just like a crazy crash scene with a helicopter over top. You're just like looking to see what everybody got. What'd you get over there? What is that? Is that that's a super soaker? In winter? All right, go ahead. Use it in the summer, I guess. And you know, you're just looking around. And then you're like, oh, that's a little pretty dress or whatever it may be. But especially now, man, you get those little clothes boxes as a kid, I mean.
Yeah.
You don't care about that at all. Especially when you see that big one in the corner they're not letting you open till the end. Do you care about this clothes
Your
box?
ride on tractor or whatever's in there, yep.
Do you care about... Did you see your dad just left the room because he's about to wheel in the bike? Like, come on.
I'm going to just wait.
I don't care about these Hanes socks you got me. Come on. Now, as an adult, that's something I ask for every single Christmas now. I want some undies and I want some socks. And I love it. And it's partly because I never know what I want because now that I'm an adult, things I want, I buy myself. So if you ask me what I want...
That's why I don't feel good at, like, to answer my own question from earlier, bro, like, I'm hoping no one loves his gifts and I have fun with that, but like, I just don't get excited. Maybe I'm just depressed. I'm kidding everybody. Like, I'm just not really, I don't really feel much anymore. Like, I'm just kind of flow through life. But like,
Brittany even said that too. This Christmas definitely didn't have that vibe. But I think it is. A lot of times you get that Christmas vibe when you're out and about. You start hearing the music. You're like, oh, they're playing it a little early or whatever it may be.
Let me ask you this question. If you had to guess, how many Amazon Christmas days did you have this year? 100? How many times did Amazon bring you exactly what you wanted already?
Oh, I always say that. So
every day's Christmas.
I still deliver my stuff to my mom's just because there's always someone there. And now that I work from home, I could deliver them right to where I'm at. But I like to deliver them there. And so I'll show up some weeks where there's just 6-7 packages. And they're like, oh, you got some packages? I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And now a lot of times it's books because I'm just buying a lot of books now. But I'll fill my cart. And if there's 5-6 things in there, I'm like, yep, let's go buy the cart. And I just buy it. And I do that all the time. I love it. And I literally say that this is like Christmas because I don't know what this is going to be. And I'll open them. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did buy that.
I tell them that they get packages every day. They get Amazon packages every
it's like
day.
Christmas every single
and that's
day.
why I tell them, like, it's Christmas every day in this house. Yeah. And it's just like, so when real Christmas, when you were a kid, all right, this is funny though. When you were a kid, like after Halloween in my house, maybe a little before, you were getting nothing. Everything you wanted was Christmas is coming up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Add that to your Christmas list. Factual. Like, Mom, all I asked you was to get more toothpaste.
Like, Mom, it's July. Like, no, Christmas is coming up. My shoes are hella small. Like, put it on your list. Like,
yeah. That's what, even where it's like, it was December then January, so it's like, add it to your Christmas and birthday list. Like, it is July, and I asked for toothpaste for the house.
I wonder if kids still hear that. Add it to your Christmas list. That was gold, but sorry about you're about to say your meme came up.
Oh yeah, dude. That was one of the funniest things. It was like that Baby Yoda, and it was him, and it was like moms during Christmas, and it had world's greatest moms just looking kind of calm, like as they opened gifts, and it was like the dad, it was like dad, just as surprised as the kids.
Bro, there was one of like this dude like sitting at the edge of his seat like this, and it was like, the saying was, "Dad's as surprised as kids to see what they got for Christmas or whatever." Like,
I just love that.
yeah, those are funny. But here we are at 125 or an hour 25. I would love to keep going with you all night, but
It's getting late, man.
It's getting a little
people
late.
Need to get home.
And I don't have nothing to drink in here.
Yeah, you don't have your milk punch.
I'm gonna go get me some milk punch next door. But
yeah, no, thank you for.
Bro,
all
I had a
of us.
great time, bro.
Me
Thank
too,
you
man.
for.
Dude, Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope you all have a great holiday. I kind of like we had other topics that I'm happy we never got to them because I think this was the episode it needed to be. So
No, I think we did. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We love you guys. Are we doing one Christmas, New Year's Eve?
Christmas, New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
if
it's
that's a
halfway
new
in between.
holiday.
Yeah, we just
Are
invented
we gonna
it.
do it in New California and New Nevada? No, yeah, I think we should.
Maybe we can
I don't
do
really
it.
have any plans for that day to where I'm gonna be like out of town or crazy. But I think we should. So we'll talk, decide if for sure we're doing it.
We'll
and
talk and do it. But thank you. I missed you guys. It's been two
Should we
long
end it
weeks.
with a quote?
Yeah, look up a quote. Let me do it with my usual showing everybody love.
Yeah.
Michael, Nashila, I saw Michaela, Garen, RG is always on the ones and twos. Tony popped his head in for a minute. Hopefully he's still on there. It's not showing me who's watching. It's just showing who's commenting. So if you want to shout out, leave a comment. I think I got everyone that at least had commented in like the last 10 minutes or so because it won't go back anymore. But we love you. We'll keep working. Hopefully the mic worked out good. Hopefully the camera quality is good. I put a little blanket under here so you wouldn't hear us tapping on. This was by design to muffle the sound a little bit.
I hope it worked.
I hope it worked. Any feedback, any topics, any questions, anything you want to hear about, talk about, see about, let us know. We'd love to incorporate it. And Richard will close with a beautiful young quote.
All right, cool. And then make sure you're ready to end it. But I will say this. So I thought this was an awesome quote. I got this from the book I Hear You by Michael S. Sorensen. If you want to make a difference in someone's life, you don't need to be gorgeous, rich, famous, or brilliant. You just have to care. And I thought that was awesome because I do think that's true. And this comes from a book where they talk about, most people when they come to you, they don't want you to solve their problems. They just want you to validate their feelings. And so I do think that's important. I think the more we genuinely care about people and we're not arguing with people about things that don't matter, you're gonna make a change in someone's life. Now, especially when you can't talk to strangers, if you give a real care to someone and what they said, I think you can change someone's day, week, and sometimes year, or even life just by being positive. So it's cheap. It's technically free. So care a little bit about people. You don't have to do it in a monetary way. You can literally just tell someone how you feel, give them a compliment about their new hairstyle, whatever it may be, and you can do some good. So
you like my hair? Is what you're
care.
Were you saying my hair looks good?
No, you need a haircut.
No, but my hair was nice.
I mean, it has some good little tangles in there.
What
it
about-
could probably dread up if you didn't do anything.
What about my beard?
It's getting
It's
long.
looking pretty
Looks
good.
You need to line it up, but it looks good.
Thanks for caring, man.
No, really good show. Merry Christmas.
That was another good quote. I'm right here ready to end it live. We're 3 minutes early. I hate to keep saying it, I really had a great time.
Me too.
This is one of my favorites. It felt really good. If you're still here, the 5 of you who are watching, please share, let your friends know about us. We love all of you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.